Oh look, Kail sent me a letter. He probably wants to thank me for all the fireballs I stopped. Those Shotos ain't got anything on me. You're breaking up with me? How's it going, guys? My name is Kail, aka BNK, aka Big Nasty Kail, and I have been playing Juri for about 10 years. And long before the sun set on Street Fighter 4, I used Ultra 1 Feng Shui engine, and I got into a lot of conversations about how I was using the wrong Ultra. In fact, I was missing out on damage because I wasn't using Ultra 2. And as time went on, a lot of the people who use Ultra 2 slowly started to migrate toward Ultra 1 and touted all the great things about the Ultra. You see, I was ahead of the game then, and I'm hoping I'm ahead of the game now with Vskill 1 and Vskill 2. With all the changes that Juri got to Vskill 2, I have a really hard time looking at Vskill 1 and going, what are you really there for? Now, I know there are some matchups where I think Vskill 1 is definitely the better one to choose. Anything involving the fireballs I will get to, but you might want to use Vskill 2 for those same reasons. We're going to go over all the pros and cons of each Vskill, and I'm going to tell you why I think migrating over to Vskill 2 is big brain. But before we get there, remember I stream 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, at twitch.tv/BigNastyKale, where I stream Final Fantasy XIV and Street Fighter V. Anytime that you want to talk about anything involving Juri, that's the place to go to. And even if I'm not playing Street Fighter, I'm always down to talk about it. So, what are some reasons to use Vskill 1? Well, the first off is that you get more damage off of your target combo. Or do we? You see, when Juri was released, we couldn't do half the things that we do with her target combo. We couldn't cancel into store, we couldn't combo after store, we couldn't do a lot of things. So back then, using target combo into Vskill 1 was okay damage. And a lot of V-skills were used this way. You would use a target combo and then end it with your V-skill. It was a good way to build your V-gauge, and it was okay damage for easy combos. But then Juri got the buff that she could use target combo into store into DP, which allows her better Oki and more damage off of the target combo. So using V-skill became kind of obsolete. And the big thing about Vskill 1 is that you don't get Oki after a hit. So using target combo into V-skill, all those side switches, it really didn't help because you let the opponent get back up for free. And this was an okay way to build V-gauge, although I don't think the damage earned and the opportunity earned from no Oki was worth the V-gauge that you were getting. Because in my point of view, putting an opponent in a situation where they have to make a decision, putting that pressure on a person is more important than the V-gauge that you earn from that. And now with V-shift being in the game, it takes a bar to use. If you're successful, you get half that bar back. I just really don't see the reason to build V-gauge with no damage or Oki. An option that I like to use in my rank is run stop pressure. We see characters like Ken using run stop pressure, and it works online in the ranks that we're in. Now, I've been told by a lot of better players that run stop pressure will get checked at higher ranks. However, we're not there yet. And this is one of Juri's only left to right mix-ups because if you let the V-skill rock, it actually hits behind the person. However, it's incredibly punishable and easy to block. Another great option with Vskill 1 is the fact that you get the punish fireballs. And this is the big reason that people pick this Vskill. You see, when you have this charge all the way up, you punish virtually all fireballs in the game. Even some long recovery normals get punished, which is really nice. Now you have to have a charge, and we could charge that off of Fuharins if we want to. And what's nice about it is that we can actually end combos with heavy Fuharin, get that charge, dash in, and actually keep pressure up, which is really nice. The downside to this is that you don't get any Oki off of successfully V-skilling a fireball. I think that's a really big drawback. Although, if you're in a situation where a person really wants to throw a fireball, having that V-skill locked actually will make them think twice about it, and that means you control the pace, and that's always good. I think one of the biggest drawbacks to Vskill 1 is that there isn't any real synergy with any V-triggers. I can't think of any reason to use Vskill 1 with V-trigger 1 or V-trigger 2. Let's go back to run stop for a second. One cool underutilized thing about run stop is that it actually lends itself to maximum damage combos. What I mean is if a person misses a DP and you want to punish them with a crouching fierce, you can actually do crouching fierce, fully charge Vskill 1 cancel into crouching fierce, which is 2 crouching fierce, and that's double the pleasure, double the fun. And even though you have the mix up of being able to cross them up, there's been a lot of times in which I have been crossed up and there's a hitbox behind the V-skill. So even though the person attacks this way and I'm over here, I still get hit. So I've given you a few reasons why you would want to use V-Skill 1, and I've given you a few cons of why you might not want to use V-Skill 1. So I want to really dive into V-Skill 2 at the current time. So, shall we? The big selling point to V-Skill 2 is that it is a replacement for all of your stores. In some way, shape, or form, this V-Skill can be used instead of any of your stores to conserve them, or if you don't have them. If you need to put a fireball on the screen that allows you to control space, V-Skill 2. Need to extend your combos or end your combos? V-Skill 2. If you're in V-Trigger 1 and you don't want to use your V-Gauge and want to continue your combos, V-Skill 2. Want to set up meaty pressure and don't want to use your Life Fuharin? V-Skill 2. I think a great aspect of V-Skill 2 is that you can end your combos with DP, which leads to better Oki. And as we said earlier, ending your combos in V-Skill 1 doesn't lead to Oki. V-Skill 2 allows you more pressure that is strong in Street Fighter 5. Being able to put something on the screen and it makes a person block as soon as they get up, making them guess between throw and strike, shimmy or not, it's always good. But being able to throw out that V-Skill fireball and actually having varying frame advantage that your opponent's not going to know, again, I think it's really valuable. Characters like Alex or Zangief or Abigail, characters that don't do well against fireballs, you can start to put things on the screen and make them have to jump through hoops to get to you. And you could control the space and the pace of the match very well because of it. The thing is that there is really good synergy with both of the V triggers with V-Skill 2. You see, if you don't want to use your V-Gauge in V-Trigger 1, you could always supplement that with V-Skill, save some of the gauge, and then still get your Oki. You can extend your combos in V-Trigger 1 for more damage with V-Skill 2. If you don't want to use some of the swords that you got with V-Trigger 2, you can actually use your V-Skill as a replacement, again, getting better Oki. If you have properly spaced pressure with V-Skill 2, you can actually cause a person to be in block stun for longer, and that is the biggest asset of V-Trigger 2. We've seen Infiltration put out anti-cross-up tech. If a person tries to cross you up and you use V-Skill 2, it actually hits behind you, and you get a full combo after that. You can't do that with V-Skill 1. A person came to my stream and told me about restands with V-Skill 2, Hakume. He came through and he said, hey, look, if you hit first frame when V-Skill 2 hits, they actually don't get knocked down. This is tech that we haven't started to look at, but this is the future of what this V-Skill will do. I think we've come across everything that we can do with V-Skill 1. There still is the cross-up with V-Skill 1 that no one can explain why it works, and it happens rarely, like 1 in 1,000. But if we could find a way to make that work, I would look at V-Skill 1 very differently. But if you've gotten this far, let's talk fireballs. I'm gonna take my freaking coat off for this one. We're gonna get down to the nitty gritty. Fireball matchups where people are gonna litter the screen with plasma is a reason why you would want to use V-Skill 1. And I understand that, and I recognize that. And I would say 80% of me says keep using V-Skill 1 for those matchups. But let's think about this. Match starts, you're going up against Ryu. You don't have V-Skill locked. Ryu throws the fireballs. You really can't do much to stop them except for getting a read with a jump in. You clash a few times with fireballs, you get your V-Skill locked. What does Ryu do? He continues to throw fireballs. He throws it, you get your damage, you reset to neutral because you don't get Oki off of it. He probably will start to think twice about throwing them. But here's the kicker. Most fireball characters will not stop throwing them. They're just going to try to sneak it in. If you hit V-Skill 1, you're getting about 100 damage. If you hit EX flip kick into heavy DP, you're getting about 180, 190, I forget the number, but almost double the damage, and you get Oki. Taking the V-Skill 1 away makes them more bold to throw them, and since we're not going to use V-Skill and we're going to use EX flip kick, even though they're bold, we're going to actually be more deadly. Ryu in the neutral is going to throw them. He has to. That's part of his game plan. So if he wants to throw them, I am glad to take damage and get my pressure off of that. And that's essentially the mindset behind it. Yes, Sagat, you can't really use EX flip kick against Kail. There's some characters where it just won't work. But there's some characters where, to be honest, let them throw a few, who cares? But when we're able to punish, we should always look to take more than 100 no Oki. Again, I'm trying to say this in the most concise way that I can, but we are only going to get a set amount of punishes off of fireballs before they stop. And I want to take as much as I can. And when they stop and V-Skill 1 loses its value because they're not going to throw anymore, we still have all the assets of V-Skill 2. But I think I ranted long enough, and I think it's time to wrap this up. Tell me what you guys think. Do you think that Vskill 2 is worth the shot? Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you disagree with me, hit me up on twitch.tv/BigNastyKale. I would love to have conversations and go over anything that you think it is not as useful as Vskill 1.4. That sentence was atrocious. Or hit me up on Twitter at twitter.com/BigNastyKale. Again, I love talking about Juri, so feel free to hit me up there. And as I start to work toward the YouTube partner program, please, if you guys can, throw a like on this video if you liked it, comment below, and subscribe. Most of you guys don't subscribe to me. 90% of you guys don't. So if you want to see these videos when they come out, best way to get notified is to subscribe to me. And with that being said, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Have a good one, guys. Be good to one another. Don't touch your face. Keep your hands clean. Keep your space. Stay safe. Wear your mask. And we're starting to get toward the end, guys. Finish strong and get your vaccines. I love you all. Tell your loved ones that you love them. And I'll see you guys soon. Trying for it. No, stop that, boy. Ooh.